What's up, everybody? Welcome to the View from Jamestown podcast edition. This is episode 28. This is the July 2019 recording. I'm sitting down with TCC President Robb Roach and Latin American Operations Manager Javier Fernandez. Good afternoon, guys.
Good afternoon.
I think this is one of our first afternoon recordings. I was going to say good morning, but I think we usually do them in the mornings.
And it's actually like nice weather for a change.
I know.
We usually talk about the horrible weather. It's beautiful outside. It's July 1st, and we wish we weren't here working. All of us in the room.
Couldn't be any nicer outside right now. But yeah, it's July 1st, officially July. Finally starting to feel like summertime out there. Had some up and down weather the last couple of weeks, but it's definitely getting nicer, which has been good. But obviously with the nice weather and the sunshine comes kind of the overall summertime slowdown, people on vacations, quote unquote driving season, things like that, and people out and about. So a lot of people in and out of vacations and things like that makes it interesting trying to set up meetings and connect with people and do business for a good couple months at this point.
Yeah, I was talking to one of our suppliers this morning, and he was trying to set up some technical meetings with his folks from Europe, and he said he was talking September.
That sounds about right.
So, but we're open here at TCC and ready to take your orders. So
we got to clip that and put it like in the beginning of the episode or something.
That's right. We're here. We're ready. We'll take your orders.
I like it. And Javi just returning from a nice Latin America trip.
Yes, last week I was in Panama and Colombia. Have good meetings there. I was in Medellin, Bogota, and Panama City. So I was writing my reports this morning. People were surprised I was writing reports.
Yeah, your finger's okay. You must be like a little tired or something.
People thought it was spam, but it was not spam. I was writing actual call reports.
Wow.
It's very impressive.
It's amazing.
How's the weather? Similar to here? Is it hotter?
Bogota is a little colder. I think the weather was up to the 60s, but Medellin was hot, like this. Yeah. And Panama was hot and muggy.
But still not a bad place to be by any means.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Glad it was a good trip.
Yeah, but no place like home.
No place like home. No.
That's right.
And for me, even I'm from Peru, home is Rhode Island.
Yes.
I'm very happy when I land. I'm very happy when I land, very happy when I cross migration. And it's like, hey, I'm back home.
Yep, absolutely. But yeah, definitely quieter in some senses, but in other senses, a lot of different geopolitical things going on, a lot of different things going on around the world. One of the biggest this week is the G20 Summit that's been going on. I guess it's coming to an end, right? It's kind of going on over the weekend, kind of coming to a close, and has been a popular thing people are keeping an eye on. Seems like a few different things coming out of that. One of the biggest, at least for the U.S., is the meeting with the U.S. and China. It seems like the tariff discussions will kind of be on hold. The tariffs are still in force, but no further escalations, and maybe a little bit of a standstill, which was positive news.
Yeah, the stock market rebounded a bit today. A good reaction to basically status quo.
Yep. Which is better than bad news. No more escalations.
Yeah, no more new tariffs. No more escalation, nothing like that. So status quo is good for the moment.
So that means that 25% stays.
It stays.
Yes.
Yeah, but still 25%, that's a huge hit for a lot of the imports.
We're still paying 25% on anything that we import from China. That's,
so status quo is still it's a harsh.
The American taxpayers are paying for this.
Paying for that, so status quo is really bad.
Well, hopefully there'll be some benefit in the long run.
In the long run, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's definitely was an imbalance, but right now we're still out of balance, and there seems to be no real conclusion or even idea when it might conclude. So we've been pretty right about this all along in our podcast, saying that this is going to be a long-term problem.
Yeah, it seems like the news has been kind of like doom and gloom with China. So even neutral news feels like good news. It's not bad. So could be worse. And the 25% even includes binoculars, which I found out for any of our listeners. A sneak peek on our corporate gifts this year is.
Don't tell them the Christmas gifts.
We gotta give them a little heads up, Thank our followers a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's listed in everything I think now. Something to keep an eye on. One of the other ones too, Trump meeting with North Korea in the DMZ was interesting to see.
Before we skip through that, I just want to say that I'm seeing a slowdown.
Yeah.
Generally. So this isn't helping American manufacturing necessarily. I mean, there is the sort of logical benefit is if you tariff imports from Mexico, China, et cetera, that, it'll boost American manufacturing and it'll become more robust. And there's definitely jobs and the lack of availability of employees, but we're not seeing a robust.
Yeah, but there's also a lag. There's a 6 month, a year lag for them to impact.
Yeah.
It's not overnight.
I think we're seeing it, Robb. I mean, our business has slowed considerably. I mean, we're seeing across the sectors, we're seeing a slowdown. Everybody's telling us that things aren't going well,
Yeah,
so
that is true. I'm seeing it.
yeah, I mean, Latin America was before USA.
Before US.
Of course, EU's seeing it. Of course, Asia's seeing it. So this whole imbalance globally is hurting everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then there's so many fronts. You've got the Iranian front, you got the Chinese front, you got the Russian front, you got the Venezuela, Latin American front, Mexico front. I mean, you can't fight a war on so many fronts.
Yep. And that goes even to the next point with the USMCA agreement that hasn't fully been ratified yet. That's always kind of been one of the more stable agreements and discussions, and that's still something that's kind of in the balance with things that have happened the last couple
Which
months.
one?
The USMCA, the new NAFTA 2.0.
Oh, yeah.
NAFTA.
Yeah, that's not settled yet either. Yeah, I mean.
That's still up in the air.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, if somebody's such a great negotiator, you'd think they'd find a conclusion.
Right.
We're not seeing any conclusion here. So, but anyway, it's a tough climate to operate business in right now. I'll tell you that much.
And the next big wrinkle, obviously, the presidential debates have started for 2020, so that obviously throws a whole new fold into the
bunch of crazies. That's what I saw,
It's
I mean,
interesting.
they're still talking about gun control. I'm sorry. I mean, I think there needs to be some gun control. There obviously needs to be guns not in the right hands, but we got bigger problems right now. They fall back on the same issues. They want to redistribute wealth. Well, what does that mean for us, for everyone?
Right.
The Democrats don't have a chance as far as I can see right now.
Yeah, there's big worldwide topics, business and non-business, that seem a little bit more pressing than that. But
Much more pressing.
so we'll see how that shakes out. One of the other big things that happened over the last couple of weeks is the Philadelphia refinery fire.
Wow,
which
that
we're
was,
now hearing that refinery will get shut down completely. And
unfortunately, we lost some lives in that, didn't we? Wasn't there an explosion, or was everybody okay?
that I don't know.
I think everyone was okay.
Okay, that's good.
I think everyone was okay.
But then stemming from that is, I think the last number I saw was over 1,000 jobs will be just
That's
wiped
horrible.
out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good, back to what we were talking about earlier. It's a good time to find a job, but
Yep.
for people that have been working there. But the other thing that you don't hear about in the news is that site's gone bankrupt a couple times.
Yep.
I think maybe even 3 times.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was, waning out. It's there's much more.
I think it was like 150 years old. I saw something like that. It was an older plant.
Yeah. It's not coming back, right?
No.
Side just.
I think they're shut. They're done.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's had a very minimal effect on supply chain. You would think somebody like Advanced 6, who's very nearby, who needs cumene, would be affected, but they're not. And a lot of that is because people are swimming in inventories. Why? Because our economy is not what we're seeing on the stock market or what's being reported.
I think something we talked about a couple times, either on the podcast or in some articles, is kind of the age of some of these plants. I mean, obviously don't want it to happen, but wouldn't be surprised if it happens to a couple other plants in the next couple of years, because a lot of these plants and facilities are relatively old at this point, in the U.S. and globally.
It is interesting too to hear the Democrats talk about electric cars, 100% electric cars by 2030. Well, that's 11 years away.
Right.
Is somebody going to go put brick and mortar to build a new refinery right now? Probably not.
Nope.
So you probably don't need it, but it's not a good time to invest
Right.
in a new refinery.
Yep. And now that we have our Latin American specialist here, might as well do a little update on what's going on in Latin America, some of the different geopolitical situations and updates.
Yeah, so we were talking about a USMCA that's still up in the air. Mexico, it's a very gloom economy at the moment. Everyone blames the president, so the president AMLO, very polarizing.
The Mexican president.
The Mexican president, very polarizing guy. The services and industrial activity contracted in Q1 and probably is going to be the same in Q2. The economy was revised growth from 2.1 to 1.6, and that's really bad for an economy such as big as the Mexican economy, which affects the whole Latin American economy for 2019.
Yep.
So in Brazil, similar scenario. The car industry is not growing as well. The expectations and jobs is falling for 2019. There's too much borrowing and spending, and the currency is depreciating against the U.S. dollar. So the president is not very popular. Mr. Jair Bolsonaro, that's his name. And then Venezuela, they just yesterday they just killed Capitan Corpeto, which is that's one of Maduro's guys. So that's gonna create people up in arms again. So it's a lot of more chaos going on in Venezuela, and the Venezuelans having a tough time to get out of Venezuela because some countries are asking for visas now. It's countries like Panama, I just found out last week that they're asking Venezuelans for visas now. Countries like Chile, same deal. So they're having tougher and tougher times over there.
Yep.
Jeez, that's not a pretty picture.
No, not at all.
No.
Yeah, the one thing you said too about the car industry has been interesting. I think stuff's been coming out. The car demand has been off, and cars have been slow. Obviously, I think, especially for us, and I think a lot of people listening and people we do business with, the car industry plays a big role in a lot of the end markets for products. And it's been interesting to see. It seems like it's been not drastic, but it's been kind of consistent where it's been flat to down.
Absolutely.
So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that, both in the U.S. and obviously Mexico, big car location for the U.S., but then kind of everywhere else as well. Continuing to watch that.
Car, because they have both ports, so a lot of Japanese parts come in.
Mm-hmm.
So you have Nissan, Toyota, Mitsubishi, a lot of that. So you have both ports coming in and a lot of parts, and then goes up to the U.S. or Brazil.
Yep.
Europeans
come in too.
They come in through Altamira
or Veracruz.
Yeah.
The Japanese come through Manzanillo. So, and then all the cars get made, and then they get shipped out from there.
But yeah, lots to keep an eye on. I think we say that every time we do the update. There's always something to talk about, and a lot still uncertainty. So it's a lot to keep an eye on and try to keep on your radar all at the same time and figure out kind of where different things are going and where trends are and all that stuff. Any other big news topics going on this month? I feel like we're just talking about it's kind of quiet, but then you start talking about stuff and there's a lot of different stuff going on.
Geopolitically, it's definitely active, but business-wise, it just seems that very few sectors are really doing well. You talked about automotive. I mean, polymers are certainly affected. Coatings are certainly affected. All the chemistry that goes into those coatings and polymers to protect them from light and and grit and dirt and all these things that we sell that go into these things are being affected. So, hoping things will turn around here. We'll get some conclusion to some of these, larger geopolitical questions. And of course, preservation of life and people's, being healthy and happy and able to make money is our first concern. So our thoughts and prayers for the people of Venezuela, everywhere in the world that, these things are having a negative effect. Of course, the Iranian situation is tenuous right now.
Yep.
They're at the limit of enrichment of uranium. Iranian uranium, Javi.
I get confused between those two, uranium.
That's a lot of vowels. In
Iranian
words.
and uranium.
Yes.
It's not something to laugh about, though. It's a serious situation. So, it just doesn't make you feel good all the time when you watch the news. My father walked into my office this morning. He says, "Hey, I don't know how you can watch this stuff. I got to know what's going on."
Yep. On a positive note, the stock market did see a nice jump in June. Dow was up over 1,800 points, which was good to see, at least amongst all the kind of poor news around.
It's funny money. It's robot trading now. I mean, there's not much you can't.
Nothing happened where it's.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
But otherwise, in pricing updates, what are you guys starting to see? We're starting to see some settlements for coming into June and July, end of June, early July. How's things looking coming in?
Vast majority of
July
rolls. We saw some, prices come down. Propylene came down in June 3.5, but there were some increases when it had increased. So I think things are sort of flat. The big thing we're watching right now is benzene.
Mm-hmm.
Benzene had a stark rise in value throughout June up to as high as, I think, 320. Did it get to 325?
Yeah, I think it started at like 220, 230 and was high as 320 at one point.
So I think just today we're checking it, we're trading around 270. Even at that, that's a 50-cent a gallon increase over, just a month earlier or so.
Yep.
So that's really, I think that's a major news item is benzene, and that's going to affect things like adipic acid and phenol and things like that. But there's plenty of benzene available. I'm not sure exactly why this is happening, but we can ask our friends at PetroChem Wire, I'm sure.
Seems like one of those things where it just goes up, and even Ray, who oversees adipic acid for us, which is a big product for benzene, was like, kind of shrug your shoulders almost. I mean, sometimes you can point to certain things that it's caused by, but sometimes it just kind of jumps.
Yeah, I did hear that there was some cargoes that made it here, right at this end of this past month, and that brought it down a little bit. But I don't know.
Yeah, so we're expecting things like adipic acid to settle today or tomorrow and see what it's going to do for the month. And
phenol, adipic thing, so a lot of the things that we handle that are back to benzene will certainly have an effect on pricing for sure.
Yep. Yeah, crude oil and Brent crude up a couple dollars this month. Nat gas pretty flat, maybe down 10, 20 cents.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting to watch Brent and WTI go down and come right back up. I mean, we were watching it right at these levels probably a month ago, 59 at WTI down to 52. Here we are right back at 59. So again, the pessimism in me is that's robot trading, following the stock market. Yeah, that's about what it's doing.
So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that as summer goes on. Obviously, with driving season, expect prices at the fuel pump to go up a bit, but hasn't really seemed too bad so far.
Yeah, demand isn't so robust even in the driving season. I mean, people just don't have more, a lot of free money for vacations and things like that. So, but I am predicting lower pricing. I think that coming into the next few months with the lack of demand we've seen really since, I think April, really, April, May, June. No, I'm sorry. April was very good. May and June seemed to slow down quite a bit. And, certainly beginning numbers in July aren't like they were, a year ago or so, but they're not, I mean, our numbers aren't horrible just because we're working hard to add new products, add new geographies, add new, customers and things like that. But yeah, it's, I think that the demand is going to be soft, and we're reading some articles now where they've gone from, things are going to be amazing forever to sort of gloom and doom. So I think it's going to be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. I know you had a lot of good meetings last week in Latin America. You see similar things? Is demand up, down?
Down.
Yeah.
Demand down. Yeah, it's pretty slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, people expecting hopefully the second semester of the year to pick up. They're waiting July, and they're happy of July 1st.
Yeah. I guess that is the midpoint of the year. Actually, I think. So July 1st, we're officially halfway there.
Yeah.
Yep. I didn't think about that. But one thing you did say, TCC is always adding new products and
June 1st.
Right? June
1st?
No.
Or is it July 1st? You got to get through June. So it is July 1st.
July 1st.
Yeah. July, August, September, October, November, December,
Your calendar,
31, 30, 31, 30. Oh.
Yeah. But one thing you did mention, TCC is always working hard to add new products and geographies and things like that to our portfolio, and one that's not necessarily new to TCC, but one that's kind of revamped a little bit, and we've been pushing a little bit more is the TOFA, the tall oil fatty acid coming out of Europe. Something we've been looking at pretty heavily the last, I guess, couple months, and have some people trying it now and things like that. Do have samples actively in stock and pretty good product availability. So something we'd like to.
Yeah, you're down to really one U.S. producer. So when you've got a monopoly like that, you better diversify your supply base, and we're here for you when it comes to that. You can talk to this gentleman right here.
Yes, absolutely. And it's been interesting getting more into it. I mean, the U.S. product is similar but different than the European product. So in some cases, it's only a one supply option. I mean, some people can only use one, can only use the other. So
what's the difference? Is it
the acid value, the iodine value is a little bit different. So we were just working with Hobby this morning. One customer needs X product. Supplier A can't do it. Supplier B can do it. So you're pretty much locked into one source, which has been interesting to get into.
Wow.
But yeah, happy to take a look at any TOFA requests for anybody out there. More than happy to take a look at that for you. Event shows and conferences been a little bit quiet the last couple weeks. Got a couple coming up in July. They couldn't have found any two warmer places to have these conferences in July.
No.
The Plastics Vinyl Compounders Conference, which will be down in just south of Jacksonville in a couple weeks. Have a pretty good crew down there. Myself, AJ, Leroy, Ken Blanchard, Margaret Caldwell.
Nice.
Good group down there. It's
Good group.
very good event, very good technical presentations, and usually pretty well attended. So good meetings and things like that.
Excellent.
Obviously, wish it wasn't necessarily Jacksonville in July, but should be should be a good location. And then back to back, the Southwestern Fertilizer Conference, which will be in Nashville. So we'll have AJ and Corey down at that one. Again, a good one for that industry. We do a little bit in the fertilizer space and the agricultural space. That's a good one for the two of them to be down at. But again, two nice warm back-to-back events. Should be good.
AJ and Corey will really enjoy Nashville. You know, a lot of music there, honky tonk. Yeah, it should be a good time.
It's a fun location.
That's the #1 bachelorette destination, I believe.
I think they're in Austin, Texas, or like they go between one and two. Yeah.
Huh.
Which I remember.
Oh, they'll really have a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think they need some supervision.
Yeah, I think they do.
I can go.
That's not what I meant.
Then the Specialty Agro Americas show.
Yeah, down in Charleston in September.
Yep.
Another good one. Been very
That's a
well
great
attended.
one,
That's the original one, quote unquote. They added the second one in February in Fort Worth, Texas, which also was very good. But the Specialty and Agrochemical show in Charleston, that's kind of their original show. That's always very well attended. So a little bit quiet during the summer, but 3 annual events that are every year versus some of the ones that are every 2 years, every 3 years that are always pretty well attended and usually are pretty good shows. And then 2 more of the major conferences come up to the end of the year. A little ways out, but figured we'd at least mention the 2 of them.
Yeah, EPCA, we're already starting to get appointments for that, Hav. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's, what we got, July, August, September. We got 3 months to go, but we're already starting to get our schedule filled up there. It's going to be a busy time, lots to talk about, I'm sure, when we're over there in Berlin in early October. And then, right after that in November is APLA, and this year it's in Buenos Aires.
Yeah.
And, boy, that's a long way to go. I mean, 12 hours in the same time zone is a long flight.
Yeah.
So that's, beautiful destination, Buenos Aires, and APLA's a great meeting every year. And
Has it ever been there? Is it the first year?
Yeah.
it's been?
No, it has been there
Yeah.
a few times.
what did we go there? 7, 8 years ago?
8 years ago.
Yeah. And then it was again maybe 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a couple times.
It was just in the EPCA was just in Berlin too, right? A couple years ago.
Yeah, it usually goes Berlin, somewhere else, Berlin, somewhere else,
Okay.
Berlin, somewhere else, and the somewhere else usually goes between Vienna and mainly Budapest. So
Where do you prefer it?
I think I enjoy Berlin a lot. It's a lot of fun and know it well now. But I also enjoy Budapest. Times have been better than others. I mean, when you go to Budapest, Vienna was great. I think I had high hopes for Vienna, so it was a little bit of a letdown for me. But honestly, any city in Europe, you can find amazing things, amazing museums, architecture, food, whatever you want. And so I'm looking forward to getting back to Europe. It's always a great time when I go over there.
Yep. But let's not wish away summer, I guess. Obviously, good
Nah,
to
I
mention
wanna-
it. We'll start putting out an emails, but it's July 1's a
We've been
good place to
waiting
be.
for this for a long time,
Yes.
so it's nice to have summer here, and hopefully we'll get to enjoy some of that downtime that other people are already getting.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else to mention? Any other notes?
I don't think so. Not in terms of the shows. What's going on around here. Of course, we've got
Got the new building built?
the new building built. We got the sales team moving over there effective today. So we got babies on the way. We've got engagements. We've got weddings planned for people in TCC. So it's a busy time.
Yeah. Lots going on.
Lots going on. Yeah. And it's nice to have Ken Blanchard back. He's
Yes.
back working
Yep.
full time, and we're just going to have at it all summer, selling chemies. That's what
Yeah.
we're going to do.
We got Margaret Caldwell on an inside sales capacity.
Yep.
We got Nicole Greenberg getting there.
New inside sales capacity. So
We have an agent in Brazil now.
agent in Brazil now.
Yeah.
We've got Brendan, who is now EH&S. He's doing some procurement responsibilities. Karen Benson as general counsel. So a lot of moving parts here, but all for the better.
Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing this crazy geopolitical and litigious environment, well, now we got a general counsel. You know, we got to navigate our way through this chemical industry, which is very dangerous. And, you know, with a litigious society, you got to make sure you're protected at all times and make sure the society is protected. So we got to make sure what we're doing is proper. So it's nice to have the EH&S and general counsel and have some expertise in here.
As I say, the EH&S position has to be one of the least thanked but most kind of critical positions and roles. It's
right.
Amazing. They fly right under the radar, but it's important stuff.
Very important. Yeah, it is. You know, you're not messing with things that are safe and benign here. These are chemistry, and you know, some of them are safe and benign, but some of them are not. So you got to make sure that you've got all the protocols in place to handle them. So very valuable position.
Yes, absolutely. Anything else before we wrap things up here? Home for a couple weeks. No trips coming up other than the couple shows here. But
I'm around. I'm around. Some folks coming in to see. I got to go to Philly in a couple weeks, but other than that, I'm around.
But have some good luck on the boat. Couple of fishing trips.
Did a couple trips last week and the week before, and we got some big tuna, marlin, mahi.
Yep. Good little weather window.
Weather windows have been nice, yeah. So it's been nice to do that. Maybe this weekend, maybe over the 4th.
It's crazy seeing some of those pictures. Like you guys are 8 hours offshore, and it just like looks like a lake. I mean,
I know.
It's beautiful.
Thank God for good weather forecasting. Otherwise, we wouldn't be there.
Yeah. But as always, appreciate you guys listening. The audio is available wherever you stream your podcasts. Feel free to visit the chemco.com/podcast. It's on the Apple Podcast Store, the Google Play Store. We do have the video version, courtesy of the Kettlebottom creative guys here. On YouTube, again, on the chemco.com/podcast. It's shared across all our social media platforms, so we hope you're following along in whatever format works well for you. Scroll down wherever you're streaming to get the show notes. We'll put a bunch of links for the different products and articles we've been talking about. And otherwise, we'll catch you next time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ben.